Hello guys, there are many blogs, channels talking about living in Brazil in general, and we are always learning from one another. So it's fundamental if we are putting down some information that will help those who are coming. And this is one of them. So guys, I have been discussing with some of you who study under the GCAP. I came through the PECG, okay? Our structure was a little bit different from yours. So it's for younger people. Now the GCAP is for graduates. That's why it's a little bit different. You see, Brazil speaks Portuguese. I've said this. Many other YouTubers have made mention of this. And personally, when people talk to me, I tell them, well, concentrate on the Portuguese first. Yes, concentrate on the Portuguese first. Because that might be, let's say, a very difficult stuff for you when you come to Brazil. Some people just want to come. You know, they don't want to consider the language. Consider the language first. It's very important, okay? So guys, imagine yourself in a class where Portuguese is spoken and you don't understand Portuguese. Portuguese is very different from English, okay? There are some words that you can relate, but someone has to explain those words to you. For example, you understand that? Okay. Test. But someone has to tell you that teste is test. The sounds are similar. Okay? Exame, exam. Promoção, promotion. São, shan. Okay? The words that end with sound, they are shan, most of them. Cidade, city, or city, university, universidade. Someone has to explain those stuff to you. You don't get that until you learn Portuguese, okay? So imagine yourself in a situation where the teacher is lecturing in Portuguese. It's a very difficult situation, okay? So that makes it a tool that you must get before getting into the class. Now I know it's very strange to reiterate the fact that it's important, because I don't know if the program is restructuring itself so that it puts the language first before sending the students into the class. Guys, those who are on ground, some of them are facing difficulties. That is the fact. I know it's not good to say things of this nature, but let's try to be less sentimental. Let's try to see what is on ground. Some are facing difficulties because they are coming to institutions that don't have the tradition of receiving foreign students. The list has grown. That's the list of universities receiving students under the GCAP has grown. Now I see students coming to state universities. During my time, that's the PECG time and PECPG, we didn't come to state universities. Okay? So this message is not for Portuguese speakers, people from Guinea-Bissau, from São Tomé, from Mozambique, from Angola, from Timor-Leste, and other Portuguese-speaking nations. This is for people who speak English and other language that is not Portuguese, or let's say not Latin languages. The French guys are doing well, okay? They learn Portuguese in maybe 2-3 months. It's similar. The structure is the same. They assimilate better. So those that speak Spanish, it's very close. They come the first week, they can communicate. But those that speak English, I met people from Colombia, I met people from Venezuela. I met people from Uruguay. I met people from Argentina. I met people from Ecuador. You know, all of them had an ease in learning the Portuguese. They were able to communicate with the little Spanish they had, right? But those that came from English-speaking countries, wow, they found it difficult. You have to learn the language, okay? So what's happening is this. If you are unfortunate to go to a school or a university that doesn't have the tradition of bringing in students, then you might find it difficult, because there are lecturers who you will find there who don't want to know if you don't speak Portuguese. That is a fact. And your life might be very difficult. Now let me tell you what you are going to do. Immediately you get there, you present yourself as a GCAP student, and you see that the subjects that you are going to study, usually you have 4 subjects, you have 3, you have 5 core subjects. I had 4 during my time, okay, at the master's level. So if you talk to those teachers and you see that there is one that wouldn't allow you to maybe have that period of adaptation, helping you to develop your stuff in English, your presentations, and also trying to communicate with you in English, you need to start working that out. Rush to the department, talk to your coordinator. If it's not possible, talk to GCAP. Yes, GCAP has to know, because you might fail. I don't know how many times you have to fail for you to maybe lose your vacancy, or for you to be, let's say, disconnected from the program, right? But I think it's worth it if you come and study with a good score. That's your average score. It's considerable, right? It's not affected. But as I said, it's possible for you to find it difficult, okay? So in that case, you have to report. You have to go after, trying to minimize the damage by communicating, by looking for alternatives, for help. It's not possible for someone to attend classes in a different language. It's impossible. We're not superhuman. We have to learn the language first. So it means if you are coming, you don't have the language, there is no structure, you have to take care of yourself. My criticism for GCUB or GCAP is that it put an international standard, forgetting that Brazil is a Portuguese-speaking nation. I think since Brazil is bringing in students at the graduate level, that is, they are coming for their master's, PhD, it should provide a space for language learning. Yes, I know it's integrated. I know there is the language you study, the language and your course at the same time, but I think that is too heavy for a master's, a doctorate student. Because when I was studying my master's, it was very difficult. Those 4 subjects were a nightmare, I wouldn't lie. It was very difficult. It was difficult for natives, for people who are here. And then I start imagining, how could it have been if I didn't speak Portuguese? Oh my goodness, it would have been hell, man. I'm gonna be frank. If I had come under the GCUB to study masters in chemical engineering, it would have been impossible. Yes, it would have been impossible. So I think GCUB, GCAP can do better. Maybe when it brings the student, the program can bring them earlier. maybe let's say they have to resume 3 months before the normal resumption date for intensive Portuguese lessons. Yes, they have to learn Portuguese intensively for 3 good months, and then they go into their classes. That way, all students will have a very smooth transition. But at the moment, from the little I've heard discussing with some of the students, it's not been easy. Okay? It's not been easy. And if you find yourself in a difficult situation because of the language, please try to communicate your problem. Try to see that you reduce the damage. Okay? Don't keep silent. All the best.